Family is supposed to be the first place where fear ends. It is where trust is learned, where safety is promised without words. But what happens when the people meant to protect you become the source of your fear? What happens when love is used as control and silence becomes survival? Today, we explore real-life psychological horror stories where betrayal didn't come from strangers, it came from family. If you're new here, this channel explores real psychological horror, human behavior, and true emotional stories with respect and depth. Subscribe now, because some stories are too important to ignore. We'll begin with Alex, not their real name, but a real story. From the outside, Alex's family looked normal. A stable home, no violence, no police reports, no visible scars. But inside the house, reality constantly shifted. Slow zoom on a quiet hallway, muted colors, clock ticking sound. Alex learned early that emotions were dangerous. If they were sad, they were told they were dramatic. If they were angry, they were told they were ungrateful. If they remembered something painful, they were told it never happened. This is called gaslighting, when someone repeatedly denies your reality until you doubt your own mind. I stopped trusting my memory. I started asking myself before every thought, am I wrong? Over time, Alex didn't just fear punishment, they feared speaking at all. Silence became safety, confusion became normal, and home became a psychological maze. Psychological horror inside families rarely exists in isolation. It grows through patterns, through repetition, through silence shared by many people at once. This is where Sarah's story begins, not in a single moment of cruelty, but in years of carefully disguised control. Slow motion family gathering. Soft laughter audio fades into silence. Camera lingers on one unmoving face. Sarah was not ignored. She was watched, measured, compared. Every action observed, every reaction judged. In Sarah's home, roles were assigned early. One sibling was the success, another was the responsibility. And Sarah was the problem. No one said it directly. They didn't have to. I knew my role before I understood words. Mistakes weren't treated equally. When others failed, it was understandable. When Sarah failed, it was proof. Proof that she was difficult. Proof that she was unstable. Proof that she needed control. Punishment didn't involve shouting. It involved withdrawal. No eye contact. No affection. No acknowledgement. Dinner table. Plates clinking. One chair slightly apart. Silence became a weapon. And Sarah learned fast. Speak less. Smile more. Disappear emotionally. Because love was conditional, and conditions changed daily. When Sarah finally questioned the treatment, the response didn't come from one person. It came from everyone. You're imagining it. You're too sensitive. That's not what happened. This is where psychological damage deepens. When denial comes from many voices, the mind stops fighting. It adapts. Aunts noticed, uncles noticed, grandparents noticed. But noticing isn't the same as acting. Holiday gathering. Laughter overlaps tension. They chose comfort over confrontation. Tradition over truth, silence over safety, and in doing so, they became part of the system. By adulthood, Sarah struggled with decisions, not because she lacked intelligence, but because every choice once required approval. I didn't know what I liked. I only knew what avoided punishment. Self-doubt became automatic. Confidence felt dangerous. Independence felt like betrayal. This is psychological captivity. The breaking point didn't arrive loudly. It arrived quietly. A small disagreement, a familiar accusation, and suddenly, clarity. I realized nothing I did would ever be enough. That realization hurts, but it also frees. Sarah didn't leave immediately. Psychological chains don't unlock overnight, but awareness had begun. And once you see the system, you can't unsee it. Sarah survived a system designed to control her. But what happens when someone escapes entirely? When distance reveals the truth? That story belongs to Daniel. And it's where this psychological horror reaches its most dangerous point. Daniel didn't grow up believing his family was dangerous. He believed they were strict, protective, concerned. That belief kept him trapped longer than fear ever could. Slow zoom on childhood photos. Warm colors gradually transition into cool blue tones. Psychological horror doesn't announce itself. It convinces you that what hurts is normal. Daniel was praised, but only when he complied. Encouraged, but only in approved directions. Career choices were family discussions. Relationships were family matters. Privacy was treated as disobedience. I wasn't living my life. I was performing it. Every decision passed through invisible filters. Will this upset them? Will this disappoint them? Will this make things worse? Fear didn't scream, it whispered. The manipulation wasn't cruel on the surface. It sounded reasonable. We're just worried. We know what's best. You'll understand someday. This is the most dangerous form of control, when harm wears the mask of care, because rejecting it feels like rejecting love itself. The breaking moment came unexpectedly. A private decision, a calm announcement, a boundary stated clearly for the first time. Phone screen lighting Daniel's face in darkness. The reaction was instant. Not anger, not sadness, mockery. You're not capable of that. You're embarrassing yourself. And in that moment, Daniel understood. Love does not humiliate. Concern does not belittle. Protection does not erase identity. Leaving wasn't dramatic. No bags thrown, no shouting matches, just distance. Daniel is packing silently. Clock ticking loudly. Distance is terrifying when you've been taught you can't survive without permission. But distance is also clarity. The messages came quickly. Accusations wrapped in affection. After everything we did for you, we're worried about your mental state. You're tearing this family apart. This is where many return. Not because they were wrong, but because guilt hurts more than abuse when you've been conditioned to carry it. Daniel almost went back. The confrontation happened months later. Not in anger, but in exhaustion. Neutral room, minimal movement, long silence before words. I needed you to support me, not control me. The response wasn't denial, it was justification. And that confirmed everything. Escaping psychological abuse doesn't end the pain. It changes its shape. Loneliness replaces fear. Doubt replaces control. Silence replaces chaos. I felt empty, but for the first time, the emptiness was mine. Healing didn't come fast. It came through small acts of defiance, making decisions without explanation, saying no without apology, trusting instincts long buried. Daniel is walking alone. Sunlight breaking through clouds. Identity isn't discovered overnight, it's reclaimed. Some families never change, not because you failed, but because control was never about love. And accepting that truth is painful, but necessary. If this story feels familiar, if something in your chest tightened while listening, you are not imagining it. Psychological harm doesn't need bruises to be real, and survival doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like walking away quietly and choosing yourself anyway. If this video resonated with you, you're not alone. Share your thoughts below. Your story might help someone else recognize their own. Subscribe for more real stories that explore the hidden corners of fear, survival, and the human mind, because the most terrifying horror is the one we're taught to accept as normal.